Hi YouTube, this is Patrick, and this is my review of Dexter's Season 7 finale. It was called Surprise Motherfucker, and I know this is late again, sorry. Um, this is not a week late. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was a great finale. I thought the whole season was just amazingly that it was so good from the beginning to the end. It felt like a sense of resurgence from the beginning, and that momentum kept through to the end of the season. They did it by using multiple storylines with, some being at the forefront, some not. And, they put the Bay Harbor Butcher thing and everything with LaGuerta on the back burner for the whole season until finally deciding to let it loose. And when they did, it felt, one, that it didn't come out of nowhere, and two, it felt like more important than anything else that had been going on all season. So, yeah, it was great. I guess I'll just run through it. Um, we'll run through first Quinn and did nothing. Again, his storyline this season was dumb, in the sense that it just led to nothing. They used him to get rid of a villain that Dexter said that kind of was a loose end with Isaac, where Dexter said, "Oh, at least his maybe Isaac could be somehow avenged or something like that," and he wasn't because Quinn just did it. You know, the only thing we got out of is maybe Quinn and Batista's cousin are going to be a couple next season. That's it. That's all we got from Quinn. But who cares? Batista had his retirement party. That the whole feeling of things coming to an end were there with everything like that with Batista. But the retirement party is not going to matter now because of what happened with LaGuerta. So I think Batista's going to be on to Dexter next season. The next person kind of on to Dexter: Dokes, LaGuerta, Batista. I mean, it seems like that's how they're going to probably go. And, yeah. And as far as, let's see, who else can we get into before I guess, you know what? I'm not going to go into the flashbacks yet. Oh, Hannah. Okay, Hannah. Hannah's a character that, could have been another Lumen. Instead, I thought, was the best female character they've done since, other than Deb on this show. And what's nice to know is that she's still going. She's a complete wild card. She could show up at any time next season again. And I hope she does. She got out of jail. She was able to one-up Deb with, calling her a hypocrite and everything like that. So it was just really well done. And she's a complete wild card. And she left that plant for Dexter. Yeah, so Hannah could show up and completely screw everything up at some point next season if things are already going bad, which I'm sure they're going to be. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with her in the final year. It is the final season next season, so. And what else? What else before? I'll just get into the whole thing about, one thing I loved about this season is that everything was about Dexter. Everything with Isaac, everything with Hannah, everything with Dexter and Deb, all that stuff was about Dexter and his psyche, which I did so much in the first couple of seasons, and got away from that. It had such a feeling of the early seasons, especially how the season ended with the flashbacks to Dokes and everything like that. That's what everything with Isaac was just. It was about how Dexter was going to cope with loving someone, or cope how he was as a killer, and Hannah bringing about the whole thing about the dark passenger. Is it really there? No, it isn't. It's just Dexter. He just enjoys. He's a killer. He's not a vigilante anymore. And that's what ultimately happened in this episode. He made the choice to be a killer of an innocent human being. And that's a huge step for this show. That's a huge step to take in season 7 for a show like that. And the whole situation, the whole scenes with Dexter and Harry in this, and I haven't mentioned Harry much this season, but they were just riveting stuff. And it's great because Harry is Dexter, basically. It's a part of Dexter's, it's Dexter's psyche talking back to him. It's not really Harry. So that's what's so great about it. But yeah, I mean, and then what we got with the Dokes flashbacks was one. It's great to see. Was it James King? Is that his name? Again, a little fatter than he used to be. That's all right. Some of the wigs were bad. Dexter's hair was awful looking, but everything else was pretty normal. It was great to kind of look at that stuff and see how fake Dexter was, and kind of imagine it as like, oh yeah, that's how the show was back in the first couple of seasons, and how obvious it would have been. I love that they tied all that stuff in because they did the first flashback, and I was like, why are they doing this? And I thought it was kind of weak, just like flashing back to Dokes. I was like, all right, whatever, we're gonna see this, even though I missed Dokes, but I love that they used it completely. They used a bunch of flashbacks, and it all meant something again, and it just showed how full circle everything had become with Dexter as we enter the final year of the show, and that's fantastic. Um, and before I get to the ending with LaGuerta, I just want to say, I mean, the one thing that I loved about the writing with this stuff with Dexter Psyche is it feels like something that Breaking Bad would do, which is it appears that they had it planned out with stuff like that, in the long run, but they didn't. It's obvious that they didn't, but it just has a feeling like, oh, this, they found a way to make it full circle, found a way to call back to things, and that's something that that Breaking Bad does a lot, and that I love about that show. It has real respect for the writers that do that, and yeah, so real props to the Dexter writers this season, without a doubt. Uh, yeah, so LaGuerta dead. Had to happen. Someone had to go. We enter the final year. I won't miss her, but I'm glad that her being gone was for a substantial reason. They didn't just kill her off, and it was just for nothing. It pushes everything with Dexter forward, and especially Deb. Jennifer Carpenter was so good. Even before, how about Dexter killing, what's his name? The last guy that ordered the hit on his mother. I love how that scene, the camera focused on Michael C. Hall and didn't cut back away. It just kind of stayed on his face, and just let him just take the scene and run. And he was great, and he's always good, but he's someone that I think we take for granted, and maybe he even could possibly sleepwalk through the role, which maybe he did a little bit in season 6, but not this year, and certainly not in this finale. He was great, but it was Jennifer Carpenter's season, and she had her best moments in the finale, and yes, I predicted that she would kill LaGuerta way back in the beginning of the season. I got it right. Thank you very much. Someone pointed that out to me on one of the past comments. Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe that I predicted that way too early, but that's whatever. It was a heartbreaking scene. She shoots LaGuerta, and Deb runs over and hugs her, a woman that she's hated, but there's hate, and then there's I killed you. And that seems to be, I like that they showed that right away. And Deb's face when they enter the New Year's Eve party, she's just vacant. She's just lost. She's gone. And Dexter seemed more emotional, even in his kill gear. It was just, everything is just out in the open. And another review pointed out that it seemed a lot like the ending of season 1, where Dexter was labeled as a hero. Remember that little dream sequence with them walking in slow motion? But whatever with that. But just still, it's a lot of callbacks. And yeah, it was a great finale. It was a great season. And there's one left. There's one season left, unless Showtime is going to be a scumbag and try to, stretch it out, which I hope not, because I hope they can see that by giving these writers a possible end date has reinvigorated the show so much, and they can go out on top. And this will be a show that I would recommend to anyone if they do go out on top, if they can finish this off well. Yeah, all right, there's some stumbles in season 5 and 6, especially season 6, but man, if they can end this well, then Dexter's a show that I think anyone would have to tune into. And yeah, so thanks everyone for watching any of these, and I appreciate any comments you have. Send them my way again. And yeah, I'll try to do some movie reviews in the next couple of weeks, but other than that, nothing until Walking Dead restarts, and then Game of Thrones, so yeah. Might be a little while before you see me. So I've been late with these reviews anyway, so it's always been a while lately. So sorry about that again. But alright guys, take care.